Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're doing episode 9 of Old Content, New Units. So, if you guys don't know what this series is, basically, I'm going back in time, taking on a bunch of old content that may or may not be useful for your account. Because of level limit break, getting characters level 150 is a lot more viable. Now, I don't recommend getting every character to level 150, but in this series, it'll help you guys sort of put together some new character teams to take down some old content, so to save you guys having to sort of like build your own teams or sort of look up what the content does. And in this series, we've been using stuff like Marco teams, Chopper teams to get maximum rewards, maximum XP, and then we spin some wheels to do a bunch of a challenge and pick what legend came out, or a legend to use that have come out since New Year's of 2022. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you are new to the series or you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button. It does help me out a great deal. And in the comment section, let me know what content you guys want to see next. If there's a piece of content you have been thinking about, or a character you think that might be very, very good to actually take down. In today's video, we're going to take on Arena Okiku, a very, very good free-to-play character, a COLLISEUM, so Chopper is going to be the man to run for this one. But let's spin some wheels, let's find out what legend we're going to be using besides Chopper and Marco, and find out what challenge team we'll be running today. Alright, so here it is, the trusty wheel with all of the names of the legends that have released since Whitebeard and Roger and Straw Hat Crew V2. Let's spin the wheel, let's see what we get. Now, as always, if we get a legend that we've already used, we will respin, but by the third time, we'll sort of, oh, yep, Zorosanji. Oh no, Kata, we've already done Kata. We've already done Kata 6+. No, Zorosanji would have been so much fun. We're going to spin again. We're going to spin again, but by the third time, we will basically just go with whatever legend that is. Lucky Man. Don't go to Shanks. We did Shanks last week. Oh my god. Why? There's like, how? Like, I actually retyped all these names in as well. So like, all the characters are in different spots, and we got Kata 6+ again. Are you dead set? No. Okay, Ulti. That's fun. I'll take Ulti because she's a newer legend that I haven't actually personally used. So we are going to use Ulti today. Let's find out what the challenge run is. Alright, so here are the challenges. Let's spin the wheel, and for this, I get to pick a legend off that list and try and build a team that's built around free-to-play subs again. We did free-to-play subs last week for last week's series. By the way, link in the description for you guys if you guys want to check out the playlist with all of these, like this series, basically. No super type or no super class. So basically, we're going to rock a 6+, basically. That's sort of the way to go here, with no super type, with no super class, and let's get it done. God damn, that intro is old. Here we are at COLLISEUM Okiku, and I finally got around to actually building these teams. I did that video, like that intro, like 4 weeks ago. I've been pretty slack on the series. I do apologize to you guys that have been waiting for this, but big love to you guys that are supporting the series. Let me know in the comment section below if you've been holding out for another episode of Old Content, New Units. And as always, we're rocking our boy V3 Marco as our captain. And now, as you can see, this is episode 9. This is episode 9, I think, and I already released episode 10 because we had Clash Bullet, and I did that first, but I'd already had this intro recorded. So, COLLISEUM Okiku is actually one of the harder COLLISEUMs, and off the top of my head, I think it was like one of the last COLLISEUMs to actually release before COLLISEUMs became not a thing anymore, right? They switched over to arenas, and now arenas seem to be like not a thing. But as always, we are starting off with a Marco team. Marco is great. He's going to be your man to actually get a lot of XP, which is super, super nice. So running double Marco is great. You get a lot of cooldowns. His super class works great if you run a lot of fighters on the team, and we actually have a full fighter team. Besides Wano Law. Now, Wano Law is actually really good for this. This particular piece of content actually came out alongside Luffy and Sanji, and it's very arrogant in the sense that Luffy Sanji was so good for this fight that, like, if you didn't bring them, it was just it was significantly harder, like so significantly harder. Nevertheless, nowadays, like, obviously with this content being like over 2 years old, hell, over like 3 years old now, we have a lot of power creep to actually get it done. And all the first 2 teams, the Chopper and the Marco team, they are no stall. But the challenge team and the challenge teams, they're a little bit of stall. But at the end of the day, like, stalling is part of the game. And what makes this event so freaking hard is actually you get hunger on the final stage. But because you get blinded, you have to have hunger on your captains to actually remove it with limit break, which is very annoying. But on stage 3, Raizo gives you 2 turns of paralysis. Supports can get around that. Works quite nicely. And then you can kind of just take him out with a special or 2. He has a lot of HP, so just be mindful of that. But then on the next stage, you have Luffy. Luffy's an int character with 6 turns of threshold and gives you 5 turns of special bind on your top and middle row, as well as rolling back your specials by 1 turn. So, very, very arrogant. Very, very annoying, actually. Nothing too, like, crazily hard, but Luffy will also give you a burn, and when Luffy dies, he does a bit of a HP cut, which that is the big concern. That is actually the big problem when it comes to this particular fight, because on the final stage against Okiku, depending on your HP threshold, is dependent on what Okiku will actually do. Now, if you're below 90% HP, she limits you to 1 special. If you're below 70%, she, like, I don't know what she does, but then if you're below 50%, she, like, blows away characters, which is very, very annoying. So, the idea here was to actually have overheal with Luffy and Sanji, so that way you don't have to worry about it. You're always at max HP, because if you're over the max threshold, you'll see that in the chopper part of the video, but that's where it works quite nicely. Now, this way of running the market team isn't exactly the smartest. Utilizing his superclass on the Raizo stage was actually a better way to go about it, but nevertheless, this actually worked fairly nicely too, and it really just shows the power creep, especially when you're running something like Straw Hat Crew V2, for their final tap to get around the 4 turns of resilience that Okiku has there. So, double Marco, always getting it done, and always doing it very fast, very efficiently, lots of XP, so huge shout out to Marco. Let's move on to Chopper now, where we can actually dupe the cotton candy drops, and if you guys have this particular team, or if you're running any Colosseums, I would highly recommend using Chopper. Alright, so the double Chopper team looks a little bit like this. So that's the team, those are the supports. Let's dive on in. Now, we have some pretty chunky supports here, but not all of them are required. The Viva support, it's really whatever, but, like, the rest just really help out getting this content done fairly fast. Now, Sengoku is our man here. Finally, Sengoku actually shows his worth because he can remove Special Bind, but he doesn't have Special Bind removal in his Sailor abilities, which makes him very, very less valuable than what a character with Special Bind removal would have. But, as always, I'm bringing my GOATs, Carrot and Wanda, for their cooldowns. That helps out a lot. And this team is very cerebral-centric. However, we do have Bonnie on the team because, as I mentioned, on the final stage, you get 2 turns of Hunger. And if your captains don't have Hunger removal, you can't get around that. If you get Binded, it removes your limit breaks, which is very annoying. So, characters like Carrot and Wanda who have Hunger won't actually activate because they get binded, which is super annoying. Raizo gives you 2 turns of paralysis. Bardo support can actually get around that super nicely. We can switch with Carrot and Wanda, use the Carrot and Wanda special here. That's going to give us an orb buff. And as long as you have an orb on like one of your characters, which Carrot and Wanda will have because you switch into Wanda and you get an orb, you are going to do insane amounts of damage here. And like I said, Raizo actually has a lot of HP. Like, he's a pretty chunky boy. If you don't kill him first turn, he picks a random unit, gives you 2 turns of paralysis, and it's super annoying. But nevertheless, this team does work quite nicely, especially if you have your Carrot Wanda limit break expanded. Now, on stage 4, Luffy has the 6 turns of threshold, 5 turns of special bind removal, as well as rolling back your specials by 2 turns. So this is where, like, the double Chopper super type is actually awesome, because Chopper can give you the cooldowns that you need on your Sengoku. Sengoku, our man, as I mentioned, removes the special bind. He gives us an orb buff. With Suru's support, he can actually remove the resilience on the final stage with the 3 turns of end of turn damage. And then utilizing Robin and Jinbei not only removes the threshold, but gives us a base stat boost. With that, we actually have enough damage here to take out Luffy. With Chopper, you actually have a lot of overheal, so you can hit all your perfects there and be absolutely hunky-dory. If you guys get a really bad roll of orbs, you can always switch with Robin and Jinbei as well. However, you really want to make sure that you are the int variation of Robin and Jinbei on the final stage. Okiku on this final stage is going to bind your bottom row by 4 turns, down to 1 after your sockets. You get 2 turns of Hunger, and she has 4 turns of Resilience, and turns into a Dex character. She also gives you a full body block orbs, by the way, too, so have fun with that. So for most of the teams you'll see moving forward now is we actually need to turn those block orbs into recovery orbs. And if you don't have recovery orbs, you're not going to get around the Hunger unless you bring a captain that has Hunger removal. So for this team, we're actually utilizing Jewelry Bonnie. She gives us an attack boost, she gives us a chain boost, because there's also 5 turns of chain coefficient reduction, which is very annoying. Activating both the Chopper specials on this turn gives us 100% of resistance for cerebral characters, and with that we have enough damage to actually take out Okiku here with the final shots with Chopper. Because we're running a primary int based team here, Bonnie works great. You just need to make sure you eat 2 meat orbs with your Carrot Wanda and your Sengoku before you start attacking with your in characters, so that way you can remove the Hunger and start dealing some damage. Once you've done that, you'll actually win the fight. And when you run Chopper, or when you run double Chopper, you actually dupe the cotton candy drops twice, and as you guys will see here, we can maximize our cotton candy gains. On to the challenge team now. The wheel chose Ulti. Let's check it out. Alright, so on to Ulti now. Now, this is like the first time I've ever used Ulti. in the game since I actually pulled her. So shout out to Ulti. That's the team. Those are the sports. Let's dive in. Shout out to the wheel for picking Ulti, by the way. And that's a big reason why I created this series. It gets me utilizing some of these older characters. Not older characters. Some of these newer characters that I wouldn't stereotypically use in some of the older content and sort of forces my hand to actually use them. Now, this particular team worked very, very nicely. It was a really fun team. I am using stuff like 6+ Blackbeard here. We're using stuff like Straw Hat Crew because Ulti is a powerhouse and a fighter-based captain, so you can actually sort of do some weird like hybrid shenanigans that way. And then we sort of built the team around sort of strength because there's 2 Dex bosses. It's not no stall, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we really needed to get the cooldowns of King ready to go by stage... what's it called? Stage 4. You could probably use the Mr. 3 support on King. I feel like that would work very nicely. But with this particular team, it's a bit of a shenanigans here. Because, yeah, I reckon you probably could use Mr. 3. Like, that would actually work fairly nicely. Because then you would reduce the damage from Luffy. But as you guys can see, if you have all of your orbs, you can easily just take down the Riser stage. But if you don't, you can actually activate a super class of Ulti. And that way you get more damage with your powerhouse units. But once you activate the super class of Ulti, you actually get more HP. So once you move into this stage against Luffy, and then into the final stage against Okiku, you actually start getting those nasty effects, which you guys are about to see here, right? So we are going to use King's special. King's going to remove the burn, he can remove the special blind, and he gives us cooldowns for our powerhouse characters. We can then use Blackbeard, because he can remove 6 turns or 7 turns of threshold, depending if you have him at level limit break 5. Plus he gives himself a monstrous attack and orb boost, and then you can activate the super class of Ulti, and that way you can actually get the extra damage to like boss units that she provides. And it just means that Blackbeard is just going to hit ridiculously hard. As you can see, though, we got 20,000, or roughly about 20,000 more HP. We then take 10,000 damage from Luffy, which means we're going to be under that 90% threshold. And then Okiku is actually going to apply the debuff on us that gives us 1 special only. So that's where it sort of falls short here. Now, you don't need to use that extra damage. You should be able to easily kill without that super class. But the super class is kind of nice, right? Like, it works quite well. On the final stage, we're going to get an attack buff with Big Mom. She turns all of those orbs that we have that are blocked into recovery orbs. And then literally from here, we're going to use the super class of our other ulti to get that conditional boost. And from there, we're good. Like, we're actually good. We have the Dofi support to give us a chain buff. And all we need to do now is eat 2 meat orbs with our in characters. So that way we get rid of the hunger. And as you guys will see here, we actually just have so much damage with like the conditional boost as well as the attack boost from Big Mom. And with the final tap of the Straw Hat Crew, we can get around the resilience. So, Ulti team worked fairly nicely. It was a pretty fun team to build. Powerhouse sort of fighter, sort of splash with the Straw Hat Crew. Big shout to the wheel for that one, because that was a lot of fun. On to the final team now. Alright, so the final team of the video and the challenge team was no super class, no super type. So I thought, hey, let's bring level limit break 5 Kuzan. I adore this guy's level limit break. I think they did a really, really good job with him. And I was going to do something like with Katakuri. I was thinking about doing something with Blackbeard. But you know me, I like to do this stuff like fairly fast. And Kuzan gives a lot of cooldowns with his captain ability. Like a lot of cooldowns. Nevertheless, the way that Kuzan operates is he wants you to kill characters. Like he wants you to kill enemies. So that way he can increase his attack buff every single turn. So ideally, every single turn you kill something, Kuzan's captain multiplier gets a little bit stronger, like just a little bit stronger. So on the first turn we take a turn to kill, so it's like 2 turns to kill, and then the second turn we take 2 turns, so that way we get 4 stacks, and that way we can start building up Kuzan by stage 5. On stage 3, not stage 5. On stage 3, Kuzan's captain multiplier will actually give us an attack boost and an orb boost, which means taking down Raizo is incredibly easy. This team is very stacked around strength units as well. So it works out fairly nicely. We are using Luffy Sanji on this team though. Luffy and Sanji obviously were designed for this content, and they work very, very nicely. To remove the paralysis, we're using Okiku here. Okiku can also give us cooldowns. She's a very, very good free-to-play unit for this team. And then obviously with Kuzan being a rainbow captain, you can sort of fill out the team with anything you like. On stage 4 against Luffy, he turns into an int character. He puts up 6 turns of threshold and has 5 turns of special blind. He also gives you the special reverse as well, which you can get around with Okiku. Okiku also gives you damage reduction too, which means that end of turn damage hit that you take from Luffy is actually reduced by a significant margin. And with the treasure map chopper, the Mugiwara 56 chopper on Luffy Sanji, you can actually remove the 2 turns of burn too. So that way, you don't have to worry about not hitting perfects, and utilizing the VV support on Brook can not only give you color affinity, but Brook is also going to give you a conditional boost, which is great. Finally, we're going to get a chain boundary with Kuzan, because we don't need 2 Kuzans on the final stage. That would just be silly. And then we are going to take out our boy Luffy here. Because we have color affinity with our free spirits, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Once we move into the final stage, we do take that damage from Luffy, but we have damage reduction, so that's fine. And that way we don't have to worry about any of those extra shenanigans from our girl Okiku. Now, Okiku is going to give us block orbs. She's going to give us blind on our middle and bottom row. She's also got 4 turns of resilience, and she gives us chain coefficient reduction as well as hunger. So once again, we do have to eat those meat orbs, but to get around this, we're actually utilizing Raizo on our Okiku unit. Raizo can not only remove the bind, but he gives us end of turn damage, which means we get around the resilience as well. We also have color affinity with our Nami, Robin, and Boa unit. We have an attack boost with our Luffy Sanji, and then we have chain boundary and chain boost with the supports of Mr. One on the waifus. Once we've done that, we're just going to eat those meat orbs thanks to Kuzan, and then we're going to just finish it off with that massive final tap from Nami, Robin, and Boa. So that's going to wrap up the video. Old content, new units once again. Let me know if you guys want to see a particular piece of content in the comment section below as always. While you're down there though, don't forget to belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. If you have not done so already, make sure to hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly though, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!